The Rain and the Rose. The rain fell in thick silver sheets across the city's streets, turning the pavement into a mirror of colored lights. Emma Hayes stood beneath the broken awning of a closed flower shop, her arms wrapped tightly around her 3-month-old daughter, Lily. The baby slept peacefully against her chest, unaware of the fear that made her mother's heart pound like a drum. Emma's wet hair clung to her face as she looked back down the street. Her ex-boyfriend, Marcus, was somewhere behind her. She had seen him outside her apartment 20 minutes ago, pacing back and forth with that look in his eyes, the same look he had worn the night she finally left him, the night she realized that love should never feel like fear. She had grabbed Lily, wrapped her in a blanket, and slipped out the back entrance of her building. Now she stood in the rain with nowhere to go. Her phone was dead. Her sister lived across town. The buses had stopped running an hour ago. The street was nearly empty. Most people had the good sense to be inside on a night like this. Emma pressed Lily closer, feeling the warmth of her daughter's small body through the damp blanket. She had to find shelter. She had to keep moving. Then she saw the car. It was a black sedan, sleek and expensive-looking, idling at the curb about 30 feet away. The engine purred quietly, and through the rain-streaked windows she could see someone sitting in the driver's seat. A man, alone, his face illuminated by the soft glow of the dashboard. Emma hesitated. Every warning she had ever heard about strangers echoed in her mind. But then she heard something else. Footsteps, heavy and quick, splashing through puddles. Marcus's voice calling her name, angry and demanding. She didn't think. She just moved. Emma ran toward the black car, her shoes slipping on the wet pavement. She reached the passenger window and knocked, her knuckles rapping desperately against the glass. The man inside turned to look at her, and even through the rain and darkness, she could see his surprise. He had dark hair, neatly styled and strong, angular features. He wore a black suit with a white shirt, no tie. His eyes were deep brown, intense but not unkind. For a moment, they simply stared at each other through the glass. Then Emma knocked again, more urgently this time. She could hear Marcus getting closer, his voice cutting through the rain. The man in the car seemed to understand. He reached over and unlocked the door. Emma pulled it open and climbed inside, pulling Lily close to her chest. The warmth of the car wrapped around them like a blanket. She closed the door quickly and locked it, her breath coming in short, sharp gasps. "Please," she said, her voice trembling. "Can I hide in your car? Just for a minute, please." The man studied her for a moment. His gaze moved from her face to the sleeping baby in her arms, then to the window where a figure was now visible in the rain. Marcus stood on the sidewalk searching, his head turning left and right. "Get down," the man said. His voice was calm, measured, with an accent that suggested education and refinement. "Keep the baby quiet." Emma didn't need to be told twice. She unbuckled her seatbelt and lowered herself in the seat, curling around Lily to protect her. The baby stirred slightly but didn't wake. From her position, Emma could hear Marcus's voice outside, getting closer. Her heart hammered so hard she thought it might wake Lily. She held her breath and waited. Then she heard the car window roll down. "Can I help you?" the man in the driver's seat asked. His tone was polite, but carried an edge that made Emma shiver. "I'm looking for someone," Marcus said, his voice rough with rain and anger. "A woman. Blonde hair. She's got a kid with her. You seen her?" There was a pause. Emma could feel the weight of it pressing down on her. She closed her eyes and prayed. "No," the man said simply. "I haven't seen anyone. You sure? She was just here a minute ago." "I'm sure." The man's voice dropped lower, and Emma heard something in it that made her pulse quicken for a different reason. It was authority. Command. The kind of voice that expected to be obeyed. "And I suggest you move along. You're blocking my view of the street." Another pause. Emma could almost feel Marcus weighing his options, trying to decide if he wanted to challenge this stranger. "Fine," Marcus finally said. "Whatever." Emma heard his footsteps retreat, splashing away into the night. The car window rolled back up. She stayed down, not daring to move until the man spoke again. "He's gone," he said. "You can sit up now." Emma slowly raised herself back into the seat, adjusting Lily in her arms. The baby was still sleeping, her tiny face peaceful and perfect. Emma looked at the man who had just saved them. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you so much." He nodded once, his eyes still watching the street. "Who was he?" "My ex-boyfriend," Emma said, her voice gaining strength. "I left him 6 months ago. He won't accept that it's over." The man's jaw tightened slightly. "Has he hurt you?" Emma thought about lying, about protecting Marcus despite everything. But then she looked down at Lily and thought about the truth her daughter deserved. "Not physically," she said, "but yes. In other ways." The man was quiet for a moment. Then he turned to face her fully, and Emma saw something in his eyes that surprised her. Understanding. And something darker. Something that looked like anger, but not directed at her. "My name is Vincent Romano," he said, "and I'm going to drive you somewhere safe. Where do you need to go?" Emma told him her sister's address across town. As Vincent pulled away from the curb, she studied his profile in the glow of the streetlights. There was something about him that didn't quite fit. The expensive car, the perfect suit, the way he had spoken to Marcus with such absolute authority. "What do you do, Mr. Romano?" she asked quietly. A small smile touched his lips. "I run a family business. Import and export, mostly." Emma nodded, though she sensed there was more to the story. But she was too grateful, too exhausted, to ask more questions. Lily began to stir, making small sounds. Emma rocked her gently, humming a soft lullaby. "How old?" Vincent asked. 3 months, Emma said, love filling her voice. "Her name is Lily." "That's a beautiful name." They drove through the rain-soaked streets in comfortable silence. Emma watched the city pass by, feeling safer than she had in hours. There was something about Vincent Romano that inspired confidence. Perhaps it was the careful way he drove, or the protective glances he kept giving her and Lily in the rearview mirror. When they finally pulled up outside her sister's apartment building, Emma felt a strange reluctance to leave. "Thank you again," she said, reaching for the door handle. "I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't let me in." Vincent reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a business card. He handed it to her. "If he bothers you again, call me. I have resources. I can make sure you and your daughter are protected." Emma took the card, her fingers brushing against his. The contact sent an unexpected warmth through her. "Why would you help us? You don't even know me." Vincent looked at her, and in his eyes she saw layers of complexity, danger and kindness, power and gentleness, because everyone deserves to feel safe, he said simply, especially mothers protecting their children. Emma felt tears prick her eyes. She blinked them away and nodded. "Goodbye, Mr. Romano." "Vincent," he corrected. "And this isn't goodbye, Emma Hayes. Something tells me we'll see each other again." Emma stepped out into the rain, cradling Lily close. She watched as Vincent waited until she was safely inside the building before driving away. Standing in the warm lobby, she looked down at the business card in her hand. Vincent Romano. And below his name, a phone number. Emma tucked the card carefully into her pocket. Outside, the rain continued to fall, washing the streets clean. And somewhere in the city, a woman and her baby were safe, protected by a stranger who was perhaps more than he seemed. As Emma rode the elevator up to her sister's apartment, Lily opened her eyes and looked up at her mother. Emma smiled down at her daughter, feeling something shift inside her heart. Fear was being replaced by something else, something that felt almost like hope. The rain fell. The city breathed. And life, as it always did, continued forward into the unknown.